an executive producer at ITV Studios. Theology and TV are seemingly very different. Theology is a subject that teaches you how to argue. You can come at a topic that might be particularly personal to you and you still have to argue both sides. That's definitely something that's really helped me in my career, because as a documentary maker, you basically have to put together a really well-structured argument.
Right now is a super interesting time to be studying theology and religious studies. Like, if I look at the media, the conversation of faith and belief is often quite poor. There's not often a very nuanced understanding, and I think that theology and religious studies students have so much to add to that conversation.
Being able to understand different religious communities, particularly in a city like Bristol, where I've worked for the last 5 years, has been really invaluable. We were doing a particular piece of work of outreach to the local Jewish communities, speaking about the tragic rise of modern anti-Semitism, understanding the history, the different strands of Judaism particularly, and how they manifest in the city, I think was really important in being able to help shape that conversation.
My managing director was from Israel, and in the morning I was able to say, oh hi, like Boker Tov and stuff like that, and he was like, whoa, how do you know that? Like, that's really weird and also impressive. And in a business like PR, a lot of it is about the relationships you build with colleagues, with journalists. We were able to develop quite a personal relationship.
Religion can be a taboo, and having employees who've got the kind of the language and the confidence to talk about the place of faith, some understanding of how certain images, pictures and language might be understood or perhaps misunderstood, has been really valuable, not only here at the Commission but in other roles.
Having studied theology and religion, it just gives you an original way of thinking about things that not everyone else has access to. In every interview I've ever done, people have had the typical questions. So theology, how does it relate to communications and PR? And I said to them, name me an organisation that has as much brand recognition, as much media coverage as, say, Christianity. And they said, actually, that's a great point. I've never really thought about that.
I think that studying theology marks you out as an individual who isn't afraid to think for yourself, willing to think beyond the obvious. And as an employer now, I'd be fascinated about meeting that person, getting them in for interview and finding out more about what they could offer to me and my organisation.
My name is Laura Capaldi. I studied theology.
I'm Tim Mortimer. I studied theology and religious studies.
I'm Jonathan Downing. I studied theology.
My name is Tiwa Adebayo. I studied theology and religious studies.
I'm Ben Wilson. I studied theology and religious studies.